layouts and moving around in the dashboard and things like that. So we all had a shot to create a Flipgrid. We also discussed the differences between a topic and a grid, those kinds of things. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can take Flipgrid a step further. We'll talk about a collaboration piece, and as well as we're going to talk about how we can use it in different settings. But before we get started, again, we've got our usual characters today. Dale Lockett's on vacation today, so he might be sneaking in and lurking in the background. But we do have Lizzie with us today. And we also have Mrs. Old David. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
All right. All right. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is how we can, first of all, collaborate. How we can use Flipgrid as a collaboration tool. And when we get started in here in a second, like always, I'm going to step away from the actual slideshow. And we're going to talk about, you're going to see me do things step by step. And as always, within the slides of the slideshow, I will have a YouTube video embedded in the slideshow so that after today, when you guys receive the slideshow at the end of the session, you guys will be able to access the slideshow and click on a link to a YouTube video that's going to show you, again, pretty much step by step what I'm going to show you today. So you'll be able to refer to it afterwards, okay? So before we get started, I'm going to show you this quick video. It's one of my favorite videos because I like these two teachers that are on here. They show a lot of energy. And so it's a quick video, but here we go.
Was your New Year's resolution to use more technology in your classroom? Do you want to inspire student voice?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have questions? Do you want answers?
Of course I do, duh.
Do you want to spark ideas and fuel conversations?
Absolutely.
Do you want something kid-friendly and learner-friendly?
That sounds great!
Then you need Flipgrid! I've been reading the Iowa Goldfinch books with kids in library, and I wanted to try Flipgrid in the classroom with some students.
So we did.
We put two ideas together,
Uh-huh.
and it was great. Here's what we asked them.
What is your favorite Goldfinch book so far, and why?
And then they're going to click the green button to add a response. Here we are, blah, 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 because blah, 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 the finished product looks like this.
I like Wegman likes blue because everyone thinks he's actually red.
That's Flipgrid.
Try it out.
And share with us.
Yep, bye.
Okay, so again, I kind of gave you a taste of how Flipgrid is used, a small way of doing it. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask you guys to think of a couple of ways. I'm going to create a Padlet. I know you guys have used Padlet before, at least throughout our sessions. So I'm going to paste this link in the chat here real quick, and I want you to go to the chat, and I want you guys to come up with some ideas just based on what you just saw real quickly here. These two guys, the two ladies, what they did is they took one was reading a particular book about goldfish. The other was a media specialist that was just looking for somebody to use Flipgrid with, and they just kind of got together, they collaborated together, and they created like a little bit of a read and response type thing. So I want you guys to think about your content, your area, your grade level, and I want you to start filling this out. And could be math ideas, science ideas, social studies ideas. If you're an elective teacher, try that. If it's something you think your elective teacher could do, try that. I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to fill that out. Try and just kind of brainstorm a bunch of ideas. Think outside the box. Maybe it's something you've already done. Maybe it's something you want to do. Think about the first week of school. Think about remote learning also. Think about what, you guys know what this year to kind of look like. You want to step it up a little bit. I want you guys to think about how maybe you could use Flipgrid in your classroom at the beginning of the year next year. And again, we don't know what the beginning of the year is going to look like yet. We've got some ideas. It could be a combination of face-to-face, could be a combination of having some remote learning. But in any case, I want you guys to just kind of brainstorm some ideas. Also in the back of your mind, I want you guys to think about something called flipped learning or a flipped classroom. Okay, I want you to just kind of, I want that to marinate for a few seconds. And if you've heard of flipped learning or a flipped classroom, type in a yay or nay in the chat, and we'll take a look at that here in about 30 seconds. Good job, guys. What? No social studies? There we go. Historical figures, awesome. All right, Mr. Menchaca has heard of a flipped classroom, so has Ms. McCullum. Got a few no's in there. I'm happy to see an admin in our group today. Awesome. All right. All right, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back here real quick. Got a lot of good ideas in there. Awesome. A flipped classroom is when you take a task and you assign it like before the kids come into the classroom. I had a good friend of mine over at McCullough. He was a PE/health teacher a few years ago. And what he would do is he would put out a video, and he'd have them put the video out the day before, so that they would come back together in class and they would do a discussion on the video. He may have them answer some questions based on the video. It could have been an assessment based on the video. It could have, and they sometimes came together in groups to create a project based on what they saw in the video. So basically, they're taking a task and they're doing it, reading it, reviewing it before the class started. Okay, and so when they came in, they would be able to get started on the project right away. Right now, so it sounds like it's pretty good. The other thing that I want to talk about this morning or this afternoon is, as you're thinking about those lessons, as you're thinking about those things that you want to do in the classroom, I want you to make some connections to balloons. This is where we really amp up your lessons, okay? Especially when you're doing your lesson planning, you're collaborating with your teachers, collaborating with your people in your grade level, you're collaborating with people in your department. all right? Because a lot of times it's real easy at the very beginning. We start right here at the knowledge. Okay, we start there where we're defining things, we're identifying things. If you're working in social studies or geography or something, we might be locating things or things like that. Now, but if you take it up a notch, now you take it up to understanding where you're having them explain something. Okay, I saw somebody put in there explaining steps to a math problem. Okay, fantastic. Classifying, comparing, differentiating. And again, the example we saw today was for elementary, but this is a fantastic tool K through 12, all right? K through 12 and beyond. So again, you want to really, really take it up a notch. You want to teach them how to apply what they've learned, analyze what they've learned, evaluate the information that they're looking at, and taking that information and possibly creating something new, designing, composing, substituting, all right? So all those things are, again, one of those things, the Blooms was always right next to my desk when I was over at McCullough and second grade, especially when I was at McCullough, because I was working with the middle school kids. And so I had that Bloom's taxonomy right there, right next to me, so that I knew how to when I was writing out my lesson plans, I knew how to take it another notch. Okay. Any questions so far?
None in the chat. There was a comment about using Flipgrid with nonverbal kids, that it's hard to do. So, but that's been the only. Georgia Harwood said it's hard to use Flipgrid with nonverbal kids.
Ah, okay. And that can be now. And you're correct. And we have those kids there. Okay. And sometimes this is not, and a lot of it depends on why they're nonverbal. If they're nonverbal because they're ELL or nonverbal because they're shy. I mean, there's different reasons for them being nonverbal. But we found that Flipgrid is a great tool to bring that student. You know, you have that student that sits in the back and they're never, you know, they don't answer questions for whatever reason. But then you start using Flipgrid in there, and it's like bringing that student to the front. Now they're not as scared. They're not as anxious about using it. And a lot of it, like I said, it takes practice. It takes practice. So that just like anything else, you know, as teachers, I know when we first did this webinar for Flipgrid 2 years ago, one of the things we had the teachers do is we had them record themselves right off the bat. And they were so nervous. The teachers were so nervous. Everybody was apprehensive, was anxious, didn't want to show their face. They didn't feel, well, you didn't tell me how to put on makeup. You know, all sorts of things that we kept hearing. But when you got down to it, is they were anxious about recording themselves. They were anxious about their voice. Might have been anxious, you know, that's our students. They're anxious because of whatever, maybe their language. And again, maybe we can have them doing it in their native language. We can have them, you know, listen to themselves. And the great thing about Flipgrid is we can have them start over as many times as they want. They can be their own editor. They can be their own reviewer. So I guess I completely understand it being kind of hard with some of those nonverbal kids, but it's something that I think this is something that we think will help a lot. Okay. All right. So we're going to skip on to the next part. One of the things, remember when we looked at our agenda today, we talked about how we're gonna create some videos and put them in YouTube, Google Slides, Google Forms, and Google Sites. The part about putting them up to the videos to YouTube is very important. Okay, and it's something that you're going to find out. Those that have used videos in the past, where they've created videos or they've found videos and they've put them in their Google Drive, and they've tried to link them from Google Drive to Classroom. It works and it's great, but sometimes we have some problems with the buffering and things like that. We found out that YouTube seems to flow a little bit better. They seem to be able to stream a little bit more efficiently. And yes, I know YouTube is blocked as of right now, but for students anyway. But there are discussions to maybe loosen that up a little bit. It's still in the discussion phase, but it's one of those things that we're advocating for. And when we do open up YouTube again, it's going to require a little bit of a little bit more class management and things like that. So again, we're discussing it. Hopefully, we'll have something in a couple of months. Just like everything else, we're not really sure what the beginning of the year is going to look like, but we're hoping that some of these tools, they open them up a little bit so that they are a little bit more flexible. They are a little bit more efficient when we do start them. All right. So we're going to start with how to upload a Flipgrid video to YouTube. All right. So we're going to start off. I'm going to close this little window out right here, and I am going to clean this up. All right. So I'm going to go to Flipgrid. So we'll go to our Flipgrid. We'll log in with our educator login. And again, what I'm showing you right now, I've already got a video for it embedded into the Google Slides. So again, just yes, keep up with me, but know that later on you'll be able to look at the Google Slide, look at the YouTube video, and I'm basically doing the exact same thing I'm showing you right now. So we will log into Flipgrid. And we're going to go to My Grid here. I don't know if I told you a little earlier, we're able to go in here and, I'm sorry, got my got my grids. We've got our grids right here, and everything's been created already. I've got a whole bunch of grids in here. So I go to my grid that I want to use, and I create my topic now. I'm looking for something here. Here it is. This is what I was looking at a few seconds ago. All right. So once I found my grid, and once I found my topic, there's this thing right here called Add Co-Pilots. All right. This is it's a collaboration piece right here. So if I was working with my grade level team, I could add 2 or 3 people on to this to collaborate with on this topic. All right. So just know about this Copilot. It's a great tool. It's a great way to collaborate with your team or your department. All right. So here we go. I've got I've chosen my grid. Now I'm looking at my responses on that grid, and I am going to choose this one right here. So I go to Actions, and I'm going to download a video. Okay, so here we go. When I download this video, I do have some options to save it into my Google Drive, but I'm going to skip that today. So all I'm going to do today is we're going to take this MP4, which is the format that we're transforming it to. We're going to take this MP4, and we're going to be able to do a lot of different things. But for today, I'm going to download it. It'll go down to my downloads. So now I've got it in MP4 format. And I'm going to close this up for right now. And I'm going to go to YouTube. Okay. So right now I've already created my own channel. Got some YouTube videos that I've uploaded. Some are things that other people created. Some are tutorials I've created. So I'm in my videos, and I'm going to go up here in the upper right-hand corner, and this little camera with a plus sign on it. I'm going to click on it, and I am going to upload a video. So I've uploaded the video. I'm going to go to my downloads. And here's that, remember I told you there's that MP4 that we just downloaded. I'm going to select it. I'm going to open it. All right. So now, I'm just gonna just randomly give it a video. I mean a name. I'm gonna title it. This is how it's gonna appear on my YouTube channel. I could select a thumbnail for it. I'm not gonna go too deep into the YouTube part of it because Miss Dale is gonna be doing next week, I believe he's doing a session on YouTube. So he might be covering a little bit more, some of this a little bit deeper. For today, we're just looking at it, at converting a Flipgrid video to a YouTube video, okay? So here we go. Yes, this is made for kids. Whatever I put on my channel, whether it's directly for kids or even if it's just for teachers, I also want to make it for the kids, okay? And I'm gonna, if you notice right now, I'm gonna make a copy of this link and I'm gonna show you why in just a few seconds. So I'm gonna go next. Again, we can get a little fancier if we want to. I'm gonna go next. For right now, I'm gonna make it private. I don't wanna list this as just a test video, but I have my options where I can make it unlisted so that anybody with the link can look at it, or I can make it public if I want to make it public. Normally with our kids, with our students, we don't want to make it public. It's okay to set it up with a video link. Usually we're going to share it out. We're going to share this out in our classroom. It's password protected, so we're okay with that. Okay, so just be aware of what the different options we've got here. And again, here's my link again. If I needed it, I'm going to save it.
Alonso, you have a question that's popping up in the chat. Is
Sure.
Why would a teacher want to move a video from Flipgrid to YouTube?
I'm getting ready to show you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Good question. All right. So Flipgrid is great. It's in itself, okay? But there's different. I'm going to show you how we can take it a step further. Okay. All right. So I've got my YouTube video. I've converted it. I've copied my link. Is that correct? All right. So now the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to embed this into a Google slide. Okay. Now, when I do a Flipgrid, a lot of times I may have a, like a lot of times when I'm using a Flipgrid, those who have checked out our virtual reality kits, one of the assignments was after the teachers used them, they were to do a reflection piece on how they used it. Sometimes there were reflection pieces from the students themselves. All right. So in a lot of cases, I'd get like 30, 40 videos. I don't always want to use each video. Or maybe sometimes I'm asked to do some sort of a lesson, or I'm having to tell the Southwest Foundation grant how I've used the virtual reality kits and so on and so forth. Then I want to pick and choose my videos. Okay, so that's one reason where we would want to upload stuff up to YouTube. Okay, so here we go. I've got my Google slide. I'm going to insert, and I'm just going to click on insert video. Remember, I copied the URL. This is why I copied it, so that I don't have to go back into my YouTube channel and search for it. So here we go. Oops, I forgot to click on URL. I do this all the time. Okay, there's my video. I'm going to select it. And now I've just embedded my video into my presentation. Okay. Now from here, I could use it for example, I've got this YouTube video, something that I created. I can create like a Google slide, and maybe my objective is to show the students a video of a historic moment. It could be an article, not an article, but it could be like a read and respond from a librarian in Europe or whatnot. It could be discussing a book. It could be a mini movie, okay? Could be a lot of different things, but now I've got this video that I can choose to use in my Google slide, okay? And I think within Google Slide, now I can add, like, if I add like 10 different slides on it, I can assign it to my classroom. They can now collaborate it as a group or in sections, or they can do it as an individual, however they'd like. So again, that gives you some flexibility on how to use a YouTube video or something that you have created, okay? So we've created our YouTube video, we've inserted it into our Google Slide, so that's one of our objectives. Second objective today was how can we embed this in a Google form? A lot of times we'll send out a Google form, and I've had some teachers go out, and I've had some math teachers go out, and they will take an explanation of a particular problem, and they can embed it into a Google form as an assessment, so they can show the video and then answer questions based on that video, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we've got our Google form, sample form right here. I'll go right here where we have our different types of add images, add sections, but I'm going to add a video. Again, it's pretty straightforward. Once you do it once, again, you did it in Google Slide, now you're doing it in Google Forms. We'll be able to do the same thing when we go over to Google Sites. So here we go. Again, I still got my YouTube video. For some reason, it takes a little bit longer to process in Google Forms, but we're okay. We've got the video there. It says it's been removed, but we just put it in there. I'm going to go back here. Okay, I got a link again. We'll try it again here. Not sure what was going on there. There we go. Let's see if this works. Wow. Something must be going on with the form here. All right, so I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try this one. Shouldn't make any difference. But, all right, so I've copied it. Go here. All right, let's see if this one works a little bit better.
It could be, Alonso, that other one was still processing, right?
Right. That, again, one thing I noticed that it does take a little bit longer to process in Google Forms. So I'm not real sure why that's the case. But in any case, now I've got my video. I've embedded it in here. I can move it up here. I've got my, oops. And I just give it a title. Now what you can have your students do is they watch the video. It could be directions that you're giving them. It could be, again, you're giving them some examples of some particular math problems. It could be a map or something that you're showing them. It could be, I mean, it could be a number of things. It could be you're reading from a part of a novel page or something like that. And now you've got, you can continue and they can view the video and answer the questions, okay? Now you would continue like you normally would to create your assessment or to create your evaluation. Could be a critique. Maybe you're showing them a little piece of a video or something. And again, you've got all these choices here. You can, the answers could be short answers, like maybe they're doing a critique or a summary. You could have them do a paragraph, or it could be an assessment where you might be able to use a multiple choice question, right? So again, you've got options. You've got some flexibility depending on what kind of video you've got. And again, it doesn't matter what content it is. You could use this in science and math and English or whatever it is as an elective, okay? So again, you're given a lot of flexibility on how to do this. And so that's another, the second objective we had. We talked about the webinar. I'm sorry. the Google Slide. We've talked about the Google Form. Now we're going to show you how to take this particular video, a YouTube video that we created from Flipgrid, and now we can put this in Google Sites. Just in the chat real quick, how many people have created a website using Google Sites? Yeah, give me a yay or nay on the chat. Okay, cool. A lot of nays. We need to work on this. Again, Google Site is a great way to communicate with our students. And you guys all know when we were doing the remote learning this year, we had some difficulties. We had to learn new things. And a lot of people were just using Google Classroom, but I want you guys to know that a Google Site is a great way of posting assignments. It's a great way of posting assignments for the whole week if you wanted to do that. It's a great way of flipping your classroom. Remember, we talked about flipping the classroom earlier, okay? It's a great way of delivering information. It's not just information, but it could be videos, it could be articles, all sorts of things. Again, a Google Site gives you a lot of flexibility, okay? So here we go. Because with this Google Site, we can embed Excel spreadsheets, we can embed Google Slides, we can embed videos, all sorts of things. So I've got my test site here, and I'm going to double click on embed. Again, I've got my URL from YouTube, and ta-da! Now we've embedded our video. And you see how easy it was? Really, if you haven't used Google Sites in a while, for those, I know a lot of y'all said no. If you haven't used Google Sites in the last 3 or 4 years, they did a huge upgrade about 3 or 4 years ago. So when you log into Google Sites, you'll be able to see Google Classic, and you'll be able to see new Google Sites still out there. Okay, I think they're not allowing you to use Google Classic anymore, but this new Google Site is so much easier, so much friendlier to use. And if you guys want to do a session on Google Sites later on, let us know. We'll get that going for you guys. But this is one way of using it. If you guys have used my my Google Site for the virtual reality, again, you saw on there that I had put in there a Google Form, I had put on there a Google Calendar, I had put on there a YouTube video. So there's so many things that you can do with this, okay? So there we go. So to summarize, I just showed you guys how to embed a video into Google Slides. In particular, we embedded a YouTube video. And again, we use a YouTube video because it just seems to stream a little bit more efficiently from YouTube than it does from our Google Drive. I showed you guys how to embed a video and Google Forms for assessments, for critiques, for read and response. And I showed you guys how to upload or embed a video into a Google site, your very own website. Okay, so think about that. Think about creating your own website. Think about what you could do with that website at the beginning of the year next year. And it doesn't matter whether it's something, whether we're meeting face-to-face or we're meeting remotely, a Google site, all these things we showed you today. I mean, seriously, it's taking it up a notch, and it's going to help you out so much with your planning. It's going to help you out so much with your delivery of information to your students. It's going to give you so much to help you out with assessments and things like that. So again, as we move forward, as you guys are relaxing and things like that, in the back of your mind, think about, man, can I do a Google website? Can I do those kinds of things? And the answer is going to be yes, because we are going to be here to help you guys. Okay. So again, reach out to us if any of you guys need help with any of these things. Reach out to us, and this is why we're here. We're here to help you. I always tell people when I work with teachers, I'm here to make you look good. I am here so that so your teacher can, or your admin can brag about you and say, you know what, I just went by Sharon's classroom and this is what she was doing. I'd never seen her do that before. She upped it up a notch. So think about those things, and if you want us to make you look better, give us a call, email us, and we're here to help you guys. Okay. The very last thing, yes.
Alonso, we have one question real quick. Do you know if when we put the video into the Google form, if we've locked the tabs, does it still work? Will we still be able to show the video since they're pulling it from YouTube? I thought that was a good question. I didn't know the answer to it either, so I know I need to look at it.
You know what? Never. When you talk about lock the tabs, like not
in Google Classroom, how you can keep them just on that form. You have that option to block all the tabs from being able to open. So if we were to
I'm not sure
in a form, okay, we'll have to look it up. So Margie Moreno is the one that asked that, so we'll find that out. Yeah.
Margie, email us so you don't get lost. So we don't forget about you. Email us. I'll research that, and that way that's a great question. No one has ever asked that question, and I've been using this for 5 or 6 years now, and nobody's asked that. So great question. All right, and just the very last thing is just a tab, just remote learning. This is just a blog that Flipgrid has offered. They update the blog, so it gives you an opportunity. If you just click on it, it'll take you directly to the blog. And I want to leave you with one last thing, okay? And I'm gonna let you guys go. As you're creating all this thing, I'm gonna refer back to the Bloom's taxonomy, guys. I want to refer back to that because that is what's going to increase engagement in your classroom. That's where it's going to make your assessments a little bit more authentic. That's where you're going to be able to take your lesson plans and you're inserting those verbs and you're taking them from just understanding them and you're taking them up to where eventually, if you do it right, your students become teachers. And I'm not saying professionally, but the higher up they go on Bloom's, the better they are at helping each other out. The better they are at collaborating. They're creating together. They're analyzing together. They're doing all these different things. And when you start using those verbs in the classroom, you're kind of embedding that. You're programming your kids for that too. So I always had, especially when I was in middle school, I had my Bloom's taxonomy plastered up on the wall. I made a big poster out of it. And so you guys, I encourage you guys to do the same thing so that as they're working on their projects, they're not working on the knowledge part of it, but they're creeping up the Bloom's taxonomy. They may not do that on day one, but you definitely want them doing that at the end of the day, at the end of the year. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys, unless there's any more questions. I appreciate you guys coming out today. It's a beautiful day out, not quite as hot, but I thank you guys for showing up. And again, if you guys want to take it up a notch and you want to dive into something, any of these things a little deeper, give one of us a call. I mean, we're here to make you guys look good, right? Thank you guys. And Ms. Aguilar has put out the survey for today, as well as the slide, the link for the slide. So thank you guys very, very much today. I hope you found this useful.
Alonzo, are you there?
Yes, I just put the link out on the chat.
So the link's over here.
In the chat, yes. Right
Okay.
where you put the question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you later.
Take care, guys. Rest, relax.